While the race for the White House may be the highest profile election in 2024, it's not the only one that will have a critical impact on your life. 34 Senate seats and maybe even control of the chamber will all be decided next fall, along with every single seat in the House of Representatives. Not to mention, voters in 11 states will also be choosing their governors. So here on Simone, we are unpacking some of these key races with our series On the Ballot. And today, we're going to Michigan, where Pamela Pugh is running for Senate. Now, she's already been elected to a statewide position on the Michigan Board of Education. On the Michigan Board of Education, she currently serves as the president. She will make history as the first black woman to represent Michigan in the U.S. Senate. Will she? Can she advance in a primary against a well-known Democratic congresswoman? Well, lucky for us, Pamela Pugh joins me now to answer those questions. Welcome to you. I want to start where I ended. Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin is one of your opponents. She's already made a name for herself in Congress, but, you know, you've been serving in a statewide elected position. So which do you think matters more to Michiganders?
I think the people of Michigan, the voters of Michigan are looking for proven leadership. And I have served here in Michigan for a decade, Simone. I currently serve, as you mentioned, as the State Board of Education president. I am the only person on the ballot who has been elected not once, but twice statewide. I was elected in 2014 when very few Democrats won. Republicans swept the ticket, the gubernatorial race, the AG race, the Secretary of State. I was the highest vote getter. Then again, in 2022, garnering over 2 million votes. And I have been here in this state, standing up for our public education system, standing with the people of Flint during the most horrific man-made crises that we will know in this country. And so that is what the people of Michigan will be focused on, is a proven leader going to Washington to fight for them.
You have said that your campaign is going to focus on, and I'm going to quote you, making sure that children have access to an education that prepares them for the future that they deserve. If you look at the numbers, well, Michigan has one of the lowest high school graduation rates in the country. So can you specifically tell us what your office has done to change that, and how could that be applied nationally?
We are so happy to finally have a governor and a legislature who understands and is prioritizing our children. What the other statistic that we should look at is Michigan has been at the bottom of 50 states when it comes to equitable funding for our children, when it comes to having buildings that have been invested in. We had to have 7 children in 2016 who sued the state of Michigan for a basic right to literacy. They sued me, Simone, in my capacity as a Michigan State Board of Education member. But I had my own attorney, and I went and helped them to sue the state because they were right. They did deserve what they were asking for, which was teachers in the classroom, books in the classroom, to have air in the summer and heat in the winter, and not share a classroom space with rodent mice. And so when you look at our statistics and our numbers, yes, we have been at the bottom, but it is because the policy of the past is now just being addressed through the new administration, and the priorities that we've set forth as a State Board of Education are finally being addressed.
You mentioned your governor, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. I want to talk about her because she recently signed an executive order establishing a new education department known as MyLeap. That department is going to have an Office of Higher Education within it. The unemployment rate in Michigan is 2.7 times higher for those with only a high school diploma. But you actually oppose this executive order, saying it threatens the very essence of our education system. Why is that?
The framers of our Constitution separated here in Michigan. That's why I had to run statewide and win to get on the State Board of Education, because the framers separated the public education system from the governor's office. If we look back in the past, when power has been taken from the Michigan Department of Education, which I am responsible for placing the person in charge of that department, but when the governor has taken power, what we've seen is that harmful impact has taken place in Detroit, whether it was millions of dollars in debt. And so my concern is that what happens when there's not a Governor Whitmer who is at the helm or who is in that office as governor? That is one issue, but just the fact that the framers of our Constitution framed and wrote our Constitution, so the two offices are separate.
Lastly, I want to talk about gun violence and gun safety. This year saw a mass shooting at Michigan State University. This is a concern, gun violence, in many Michigan cities. It's a concern nationally. What gun safety legislation would you support if elected to the Senate? And would you abolish or carve out the filibuster?
Yes, we need to continue to strengthen address this public health issue that we've seen for far too long, taking assault weapons out of the hands of people who can get them and just taking those off the street. So addressing assault weapons, but also making sure that we have checks and balances and checks of persons who are getting guns. There are so much more that we can do there. We've made strides here in Michigan with red flag laws and some other pieces of legislation that passes, but that needs to be nationalized. As it relates to the filibuster, I definitely think that we have to rethink the filibuster. When we cannot address our civil rights laws, cannot protect civil rights laws, when we cannot address reform in those areas as well as reform in policing, and we definitely have to address the filibuster and think about rolling back the filibuster.
All right. Pamela Pugh, president of the Michigan State Board of Education and Democratic candidate for Senate, thank you very much for your time today.